Welcome to Make Something with me, David Picciuto, and today I'm going to show you how to bend plywood and solid wood using kerf cutting while we make this coat rack. Check it. So I have this piece of plywood here that I want to do the kerf bending in. I got it cut down to rough size. The first thing I need to do is get my blade height to just below that top veneer. The higher you go, the more you can bend. But the higher you go, the weaker the surface. So I'm gonna go just below the veneer and leave part of that top layer of the plywood. You can use any blade, it doesn't have to be a flat bottom blade. I just have my combination blade here in the table saw, and we're gonna use my crosscut sled. There is a website called blocklayer.com that does all the math for you and tells how many kerfs you need to make, how deep to go, and depending on the radius that you're looking for. We are just going to start cutting some kerfs until we get it right. If you cut too many, it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna have my radius start about right here. So I'm gonna do a series of kerfs, and in between, I'm gonna leave the width of the saw blade. And we're gonna just keep cutting kerfs until I can get a 90-degree bend. I'm just going to move this over till it looks like it's about the width of the saw blade. And I'm gonna make a little pencil mark right here on my sled. And I'll know to move my kerf over all the way to that pencil mark every single time. So here's what we got so far. We have 8 kerfs in there, and I want to get to 90, and we are almost there. We're not quite. We still need 1 or 2. So I'm just going to throw it back on the sled and do a couple more. So this is 3/4 inch plywood, and it took 9 kerfs, and I'm trying to get the tightest radius that I can. If you have a big sweeping radius, you can space out your kerfs and not have them so close. So now I'm gonna make another series of kerfs down here. So we're gonna start to glue this up. I'm gonna use this polyurethane glue right here, which reacts with water and causes it to foam and fill its space. So for these 2 guys right here, I'm going to wet it down. I'm gonna fill it with glue, and then we're going to clamp it in place like that and let it dry for about an hour or so. I've seen people use regular wood glue for this as well, but I like using this because it expands. So I'm just going to use a clamp, try to get that to 90. Those 2 kerfs fine. This one that I want to curve backwards where it wants to break, I'm going to squirt it with some water for right now. And then I'm not gonna do anything but let that sit and dry. So then when it does dry, we can actually bend it a little bit more. But you can see it kind of foaming up now and filling in the space. So it's been about an hour. Getting this kerf wet helped me get it past 90 degrees. So that experiment worked out pretty good. I'm gonna take this off the clamp here, and it holds its form now. How cool is that? Dan came up with the brilliant idea of filling this in right here with that expanding foam insulation stuff, the grate stuff, and that I think could actually work to stiffen that up. I don't need to do that for this because I'm gonna make some side pieces and it's all gonna be attached to that, and it should be nice and firm and sturdy. So now that we've gone over the basics of kerf bending, I'm going to make a coat hanger out of this piece of cherry plywood. At the end of the video, I'm gonna give you some more tips and tricks to help you along with this. And while I'm making this coat hanger, I'd like to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Dollar Shave Club. I've been a longtime paying member since 2012, so I'm not just feeding you a line of bull. If you're wondering why someone like me has been a Dollar Shave Club member for 7 years, it's because I use their razors and their shave butter in the shower to shave my head. Don't be fooled by the name. They've got all your everyday grooming needs and it's delivered right to your house. Shower products, oral care, skin, hair, booty wipes, and obviously shaving products. Right now they have a great offer where you can get their shave, shower, or oral starter kits each for only $5. The shave starter kit comes with the executive razor and a 3-ounce tube of their Dr. Carver's shave butter. The oral care starter kit comes with their weighty toothbrush and a trial size version of their toothpaste. The shower starter set comes with a 3 trial size versions of their amber lavender body cleanser, citrus and Hawaiian ginger face cleanser, and sage and black pepper shampoo. Join the club with one of their starter kits for just $5. After that, the restock box comes with regular size products at regular price. Get this exclusive deal at dollarshaveclub.com/makesomething today. Thank you, Dollar Shave Club, for 7 years of sending me high quality products. Now let's get back to this coat hanger and finish it up. It's as simple as that. If you're wondering why I used hot glue for the mirror, it's because the screws coming in from the back didn't penetrate this very much, so there's not a lot of holding power, and I wanted to use hot glue and not regular glue in case I need to take it off to replace a broken mirror. I did use this kerf bending technique in my previous video when we gutted the Nintendo and remade the case out of wood. You might want to check that out. Basically, there are 3 common ways to bend wood. Here we did kerf cutting, which is probably the quickest and easiest way, but you have to hide the kerfs somehow. There's also bent lamination like we did with the wooden spoon a couple years ago. The problem with that is you might see the laminations and you got to build a jig just for each bend. And then there's steam bending, but not all woods are bendable. So you're limited on the species and you're also limited on the amount you can bend the wood because you're actually compressing fibers on the inside and expanding fibers on the outside. So you're limited there. Each technique has its own advantages and disadvantages. There's a great website called blocklayer.com and it gets into the mathematics of kerf bending and it talks about spacing and then how many kerfs you need. I wanted to avoid that because figuring out how many kerfs you need and spacing can be a barrier to experimenting. So I just spaced the kerfs out to the width of my blade and just kept cutting. If you cut too many, not a big deal. If you don't cut enough, you'll know because the piece won't bend far enough. If the inside of your project is going to be seen, one way to cover that up is to get some paperback veneer and use some contact cement and glue that on there, and that'll hide that just fine. You can go against the grain and also with the grain. Going with the grain, you can actually bend a lot further. I found if the wood starts to crack, get it wet, let it sit for a little bit in that curved position, and then you can actually bend it even more. You can do this with solid wood as well. This is walnut. Some woods are gonna work better than others, and you can see I left just a little bit of a veneer thickness on the top there. That is it, folks. We'll see you next week with a brand new project. As always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and make something.